The psychic energy of the group will be channeled into the caller's right hand, and it will raise of its own accord and knock. Everything was set, and then disaster struck. Clutched their hands to their ears, faces writhing in agony. Blood trickled from some of their noses. Hey guys! I am Charlotte the Starlet. These are my girls, Angel and Greta, and this is my little boy Seth. Today we're taking a look at another creepypasta. Okay, this one is called the Psychic Knock Game. I ain't into the idea of playing games with ghosts and psychics. No, that is how you earn yourself a one-way ticket to hell. It starts off with that idiot Josh started this. He found this Snapchat user called CallMe469. Is that meant to sound wrong? That felt wrong to say, but I actually can't figure out which part of that was wrong. Can someone explain it to me? Or am I just reading too much into this? CallMe469. CallMe469. You know what? We are going with CallMe469. Anyway, rumor had it that their account belonged to a hot girl, so Josh thought he could flirt with her, I guess. Despite the suggestive name, so it is meant to sound sus. Despite the suggestive name, Josh was misguided. After connecting, the user sent him nothing but snaps detailing the instructions to some sort of psychic game. You get a group of you together, and if you all focus hard enough, you can knock on someone's door with your collective psychic energy. Wait, so can they manifest powers like Matilda did? Like, can they fling stuff at a door to make a knocking sound? That's kind of crazy. We noticed that there was a bit more to it than that when he actually showed us the snaps. Each one had a picture of handwritten instructions. 1. You need a large group of people who are connected in some way, such as friends, teammates, or classmates. You must all agree on whose door to knock on. If there's any disagreement in the group, the game will not work. 3. Everyone must wear black. Wait a second, why? How do fashion choices influence this game? What if someone doesn't have any black clothes? What the heck? What's that about? I genuinely cannot think of a single good reason to have that as a rule. Oh no. Oh, this is ridiculous. 4. The group must sit in a circle and join hands, of course. Lovely horror trope. 5. The leader in the group must place a picture of the door, a map showing the route from the group's location to the door's location, and something belonging to the person to receive the psychic knock in the center of the circle. Okay? So they have to throw a bunch of stuff in a circle. 6. There must be complete silence. 7. The group must concentrate on the map and visualize moving to the door one at a time, starting with the person sat to the left of the caller. When you reach the door, squeeze the hand of your neighbor to the left. Only when the caller gets to the house can you begin to focus on the knock. Okay, so they have to wait for the leader to actually go up to the house before they start trying to make this knock happen. Everyone except for the caller must raise their right hand, concentrate on the door, and visualize the caller's hand raised and knocking. And the caller must also visualize the knock. The psychic energy of the group will be channeled into the caller's right hand, and it will raise of its own accord and knock. Okay, so they're moving the caller's body for them. We didn't know how many people we needed, so it started as just a few close friends. But word soon got out. John invited Kayla because he wanted to make out with her. Kayla wanted to bring Abby, the biggest loudmouth at the school. So by Thursday morning, we had 14 people coming. Well, I feel like the more people are involved in this, the harder it will be to succeed at it. Especially if there are loudmouths like this girl. We picked our chemistry teacher, Mr. Griffins. He lived quite close to me, so it was easy enough to take a picture of his door and steal a little garden gnome he had in the front of his house. Everything was set, and then disaster struck. Ooh, why am I kinda excited to see what this disaster is? My mum got asked to cover a shift at work. We really needed the money, so she couldn't say no. Because of this, I had to stay home and look after my little sister Joni. Oh, okay, so the guy who's written about all this is exaggerating. So, while Josh, Tony, and Martin were having fun hanging out with the hottest girls in our class and trying to psychically bother our teacher, I was stuck at home with a 9-year-old brat. Once I packed her off to bed, I jumped on my laptop and Skyped Josh. It was 10 p.m. "Hey man, this is awesome. Kayla and all the girls came," he said. "It sucks that you can't be here." "I know, man. When are you gonna start?" "Stroke of midnight, dude. Look, stay on the line, but we're gonna have to put you on mute when the time comes. The instructions say complete silence." I hung out with them for a couple of hours via Skype and watched them get ready in Josh's basement den. They were all dressed in black, and Josh lit a bunch of candles around the room that cast an eerie flickering light. When he turned off the lights, the soft low candlelight made their images on the screen pixelated and indistinct. "Sorry dude, we're putting you on silent," Josh said and hit mute. At this point, I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me. Formed into a circle, cross-legged on the floor, Josh was reveling in his role as caller, dishing out instructions and trying to act cool. There was whispering and nodding. Then, when they pulled out the map and object to put in the middle of the circle, they broke out in giggles. Have they lost the game already? And a few of them shot glances to the screen to look at me. I couldn't make out the images clearly, but it didn't look like Mr. Griffith's gnome. What? It looked more like a sweater. My sweater. Who did that? Who did that? Who did that? That was when it hit me. They were going to knock on my door. Yo, this just got good. Up until this point, I was thinking, this is okay. It's not bad. But now, I'm in. Like, what is gonna happen to him if they knock on his door successfully? And why would they switch up like that? They're pretty much backstabbing him. And did they really think they'd do it without him noticing? Some friends, you sons of I shouted uselessly in the muted Skype call. There was nothing I could do. They were in the circle now, completely focused. I watched, powerless to intervene. Ugh, that must be so frustrating. I couldn't see the hand squeezes as the members of the circle passed the psychic baton to each other, but I could somehow sense it. I felt the energy building from one person to the next. What Is it actually working? The candlelight grew dimmer, drawing all attention into the circle, blocking out the rest of the world. The lights flickered wildly as each hand was squeezed tight, and then the energy passed. Despite the silence in the room, a distant rumbling, grating noise grew over our connection. It hurt my ears. I wanted to scream at them to stop, but found myself entranced by the events unfolding on my screen. The energy passed to Josh, and the group broke hands. They raised them in unison. Josh's hand remained on his knees, his face impassive, his eyes narrowed. They knocked 3 times, slowly and deliberately. Impossibly, a deep reverberation built over the Skype connection, so that by the end of the 3rd knock, the booming noise echoed into the pits of infinity. It's hard to describe everything that happened in those next few moments. Josh's hand shot up. For a fraction of a second, he stared at it, a terrified look on his face. Wait, is he controlling it? Is he moving his hand himself? Or is there actually some spirit that's raised his hand for him? In an instant, the look was gone as his eyes rolled back in his head, only the whites now staring vacantly out. What's happening? The flickering candlelight transformed the shadow of his raised hand from a teenage boy into that of a gnarled and twisted fiend. I don't know if I actually saw it or imagined it after the fact, but for less than a heartbeat, I thought I saw a terrible creature who owned that hand, etched in shadow on the wall and my screen. That's what I thought. Oh my days, this just got so good. A sound came over the speakers, full of dread, malice, and glee. It was at once a scream, a roar, and most terrifyingly of all, the word yes. The circle must have heard it as well, for they clutched their hands to their ears, faces writhing in agony. Blood trickled from some of their noses. My speakers blew, plunging my room into silence. Josh was oblivious in his glaze-eyed trance. He made a slow, deliberate knocking motion 3 times. Thump. My attention shot to my front door at the thudding of the knock. My heart began to race. Thump. The knocking on my door was in perfect unison with Josh's knocking on the screen. A couple of the group in Josh's den scrambled to their feet, freaked out at what was going on. I felt sick. This had gone way too far. Thump. I stood up and backed away from the door to my stairs. No way I was opening that door with the I'd just seen. I ran upstairs to check on Joni, make sure she was okay. Thankfully, she was fast asleep. I went into my room and grabbed my baseball bat. From my bedroom window, I have a good view of the front door. Sweaty and hyperventilating, I nervously drew back the curtains to look. Nothing. I grew bolder and took a good look, studying our porch and looking out down the street. Still nothing, but I could feel a presence. That's when I caught a glimpse, a shadowy movement in the trees across the road. It was only for an instant, but I saw that same ominous outline that I'd seen on Josh's den. I must have fallen asleep at some point, mentally taxed from the ordeal. I woke up with my baseball bat next to me. In the cold light of the morning, with a couple hours of sleep under my belt, things felt different. Cool, almost. what had actually happened for me to be so scared. Josh probably faked the eye rolling thing and the look of fear when his hand moved. I don't know about that. Like, I'd like to believe that it actually wasn't him, you know, because that makes for a better story and it makes it scarier. The group were in on switching it to me rather than Griffiths, so they most likely had someone come around to do the knocking as a joke. I bet they recorded me on Skype so they could see my reaction. I went to school more off than scared, ready to confront my. My mood changed pretty quickly. The whole group from the night before were gathered. They all looked terrible, Josh worse than the rest, pale as a ghost and on edge. I'm so sorry, Cody. I had no idea, man. I'm scared, dude, he said as soon as he saw me. Yeah, like, I told you. I don't think they're kidding. He showed me his phone. There was a snap from Call Me 469. It was a picture of my front door. All 13 of them had received the same snap, even though only Josh was connected to the user. The message said, "You called me, but no one answered. I will return. One of you must let me in." Woo! Did that just hint at a sequel? I really hope so. I loved this. It was so good. What do you guys think? Did you enjoy it as well? Apparently, there is a second part to this, and also a third part to this. So, if you really like this too, make sure you join me next time, because I will be uploading that story too. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give the like button and the notification bell a little kiss, and subscribe to become a Starlet. Don't forget to follow me on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and now Patreon, where you can find me answering juicy questions like this. Juicy question number 2. Do you consider yourself a good girl or a bad girl? I wear this for a reason. You won't get that content anywhere else. Plus, you can ask me anything you like and I will answer it in a video for you on Patreon. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye!